I wore the Skmei 1123 for 10 days. Here's what happened.
Hey everyone, welcome back to the Frugal Watch Box Channel. Today, we're doing something a little different and maybe a little bit crazy. I decided to put the Skmei 1123 to the ultimate test, 10 straight days on my wrist. No switching watches, no pampering it like a collector's item, just pure everyday abuse. I wore it all day, every day, through sleep, yard work, showers, editing videos, shooting content, and even hanging out with friends. Basically, I treated it like a loyal sidekick that couldn't complain. No breaks, no gentle wiping with a microfiber cloth, no rotating it with other watches. Just real-life action. If this watch could talk, it would probably say, "Bro, give me a break." So now, let's break it down and see how this budget retro held up in the real world. Right out of the box, the Skmei 1123 gave off strong Casio A158W clone vibes. It's shiny, retro, and lightweight. At first glance, it looks like it time traveled from 1985 with your uncle's mixtape. Let's check the watch after 10 days of use.
Case dimensions, size matters, but not too much.
All right, before we dive into the nitty-gritty, let's break down the dimensions of the Skmei 1123. For anyone new to this watch, here's the deal. The Skmei 1123 is basically the budget-friendly love child of the famous Casio A158W. If you've ever rocked a Casio Retro, you'll feel right at home with this one. Like the Casio, it's got a solid 30-meter water resistance, which means it can handle the occasional splash or a light shower, but don't expect it to join you on a deep-sea adventure. But don't worry, I'm still going to put it through some serious real-life testing like yard work, clearing drains, and yes, even showering with it. I might regret that later, but let's see how tough it is. Now let's talk size. This isn't a giant smartwatch that takes up your entire wrist. This one's a little more subtle. Case size, 33.5 millimeters, small, compact, and comfy. Not too big, not too small, just right for those who prefer a more retro, vintage vibe. Lug to lug, 36.4 millimeters. This is the distance from one end of the watch to the other, so it sits nicely on your wrist without feeling like it's taking over. It's a Goldilocks watch, just the right fit. Thickness, 8.8 millimeters. It's slim enough to slip under a shirt cuff without making your wrist feel like it's in a vise. Lug width, 18 millimeters, standard, so if you ever want to swap out the bracelet for something else, no problem. Weight, about 56 grams. Yep, it's a bit heavier than you'd expect from a plastic case watch, thanks to the zinc alloy case and stainless steel bracelet. But honestly, it feels more premium this way. Plus, it's still light enough to wear all day without it feeling like a weightlifting session for your wrist. So, while it's not a heavy-duty, rugged tank, it's definitely a solid little watch that can handle some daily life abuse. Just don't ask it to join you in the deep end.
Comfort level. Wrist check. Does it feel like a 10-day hug?
Now, let's talk about comfort. How does this little guy feel after wearing it all day long? Spoiler alert, pretty comfy, considering it's a $6 watch. The stainless steel bracelet is the first thing you'll notice. It's got that classic retro vibe, much like the A158W Casio, but with a twist. It's just a bit heavier. That's because the Skmei 1123 rocks a zinc alloy case rather than the resin case of the A158W. So yeah, you're getting some extra weight, but it's not like you're wearing a dumbbell on your wrist. It feels solid and sturdy, not flimsy or cheap. I'd say it's the type of weight that makes you feel like you're wearing something reliable, not just a plastic toy. If you're used to lightweight, plastic-wide watches, you might feel a slight adjustment. But hey, after a full day of wearing it through everything, editing videos, working in the yard, and even catching some ZZZs, it didn't leave me feeling like my wrist had been through a workout. That said, if you're a fan of featherlight smartwatches or ultra-thin fashion pieces, this might feel like a bit of a throwback. But for those of us who appreciate the retro vibe, it's the kind of weight that says, I'm serious, but not too serious. Now let's talk size. The case is small, but that's the charm, right? It's got that square shape, which some might call vintage or retro, but I like to think of it as trying to get away from the chunky smartwatch trend. It's perfect for smaller wrists like mine, I've got a 6.5-inch wrist, and honestly, it feels like a watch made for someone who doesn't want their wrist to be overtaken by a bulky tech gadget. If you've ever rocked a smartwatch that feels like you're wearing a dinner plate, this one will give you the sweet relief of subtlety. It's like the cool kid in the schoolyard, quietly judging your oversized smartwatch. It's not loud or in your face. It's the watch that says, I know I'm cool, but I don't need to scream about it. In short, this watch is small, square, and subtle, just the way retro watches should be. It won't dominate your wrist, but it'll definitely get some side-eye from that oversized smartwatch on your wrist.
Case, bezel, crystal, and buttons. The watch that could take a beating and still look good.
Let's dive into the real heart of the watch. The case, bezel, crystal, and buttons. Spoiler, it's a lot sturdier than you might expect for a $6 watch. In fact, I was pretty surprised by how well it held up after 10 days of what I can only describe as intense real-life abuse. After 10 days, you may find some scratches on the crystal, case, bezel, and bracelet, but considering the price and the rough treatment, it still looks pretty good. First up, the build quality. The Skmei 1123 is definitely heavier than some of the cheaper resin-cased watches you might have encountered. But here's the kicker, it's sturdy. It doesn't feel like you're wearing a flimsy plastic toy that's going to fall apart the second it hits a wall. It's got a zinc alloy case that gives it some good weight and substance. This is a watch that feels like it can handle life's little bumps and bruises. And the crystal? The crystal doesn't seem to be resin based on its feel. It could be a mineral crystal, although Skmei didn't specify this on their website. The bracelet? Yep, you guessed it, real stainless steel. It's sturdy and gives the watch a solid, dependable feel. Honestly, it makes the watch look more expensive than it is. It's like the watch equivalent of someone who's really good at hiding their age. Now, onto the buttons. They're still working like champs after 10 days of use. Let's face it, on some budget watches, buttons can get all sticky or stop working after a while. Not this one. There's a single button on the right side to control the alarm and toggle between 12-hour and 24-hour formats. On the left side, there's a top button for the light and a bottom button to control the mode. All of them are clicky and satisfying to press. The dial features blue and white lines that add subtle elegance without being over the top. The Skmei logo sits at the top with a bold blue line and a gold alarm chronograph imprint beneath it. Below, the 30M water resistance is marked in bold red, signaling durability. After 10 days of use, minor scratches on the crystal don't obscure readability, and the watch still looks sharp, proving a little wear just adds character. Speaking of readability, the tiny display packs a lot of info into a small space. On the top left, you've got the alarm indicator, the hourly time signal, and the 24-hour format toggle. In the middle, you'll see the day of the week, and to the right, the date. Below that, you've got the larger display for the hours, minutes, and seconds. It's all laid out pretty neatly, making sure you don't need to squint or guess at what time it is. No surprise there, it's a budget watch, but they still thought of everything to keep you on time.
Viewing angles. Not perfect, but it'll do.
Now let's talk about a common issue with budget watches, the viewing angles. If you've worn a Skmei before, you know what to expect. The angles aren't great. When tilted, you'll see ghosting and the display may turn into a sea of 8888, like the watch is trying to show you something, but can't quite get it right. This isn't a Casio, which is known for perfect viewing angles. We're talking about a $6 Skmei, and for that price, the display is still readable head-on, which is a win. Just don't expect it to be legible from every angle without some tilt and squinting. Is it perfect? No, but for $6, it's functional enough. If you need to quickly check the time, it works. Just don't expect flawless viewing like higher-end models. If you're looking for perfect angles, you're probably not shopping in this price range. While the viewing angles aren't the best, the price makes up for it. It's like a decent movie at a matinee price. Nothing spectacular, but it gets the job done.
Caseback and Bracelet. Surprisingly solid for $6.
Let's talk about the Caseback and Bracelet now. You'd think at this price, Skmei would cut a few corners, but honestly, they've got some decent build quality going on here. First up, the Bracelet is made of stainless steel, which is a pleasant surprise. It has a design that's pretty similar to the Casio A158W, so it's kind of a retro twin to that watch, with just a hint of vintage charm. Now, I'm not saying it's a luxury watch bracelet, but it's got enough sturdiness to hold its own. The best part? I wore this thing for yard work, clearing a drain. Yes, I live life on the edge, and under my long-sleeve shirt, it didn't pick up much in the way of scratches. You'd expect it to look like a war zone after a few days of that kind of treatment, but it really held up well. There are a few minor scratches after 10 days, but nothing too noticeable. Definitely not bad for just 10 days, not 10 years. As for the Caseback, there are noticeable scratches, but the imprints are still clear and legible. No issues there. Now, one thing that's worth noting, there's no stainless steel imprint on the Caseback. That means the case is made from something other than stainless steel, probably just some ordinary metal that's been coated or treated in some way. It's not the worst thing, but definitely something to note if you're used to seeing the typical stainless steel imprints you get on higher-end watches. Moving on to the outer ring, we've got a 3 ATM water resistance rating, which means it's splash-proof and can handle a bit of rain, but don't go thinking you can take it for a swim. I didn't test this on any deep dives, I'm not that brave, but for day-to-day splashes, it's all good. Also, just for your information, the battery is a CR2016, which is the same as most digital watches of this kind. It's a standard battery that's easy to find, and it should last quite a while before you need to swap it out. On the inner side of the Caseback, you'll find the usual suspects: the model number 1123, the Skmei logo, and the 3 ATM logo. Nothing too flashy, just some clear branding that lets you know what you're working with. All in all, while this Skmei may not be winning any design awards, it holds up surprisingly well. The bracelet and Caseback are sturdy, with minimal wear and tear after 10 days of constant use. Honestly, for a budget watch, I'm not complaining. It's clear that Skmei didn't cheap out on the basics, and for $6, that's more than I expected.
Water resistance test. Can it handle the splash?
All right, let's see if this little guy can really live up to that 30M water resistance after 10 days of wear. I mean, it says it's water resistant, but the real question is, can it take a few splashes and still keep ticking? Let's put it to the test. To be honest, I was a bit nervous about testing this out, since it only has 30 meters of water resistance. That's not exactly diving depth, right? But hey, I'm curious, so here goes. First, I ran some tap water over it for a while, just a casual shower, nothing too crazy. It didn't blink an eye, so far so good. Now for the real challenge. I dumped it into a sink full of water. No leaks, no drama. It passed the test with flying colors. I wasn't expecting it to survive a deep dive or anything. I'm not trying to start a career as an underwater watch tester, but for everyday water exposure, like washing your hands or catching a surprise rainstorm, it's looking solid. So it turns out after 10 days of testing, the little Skmei is still doing just fine. No leaks, no issues. Looks like this thing's a keeper for casual water activities. Who knew a simple watch could handle this much action? Guess it's not just a pretty face after all.
Alarm check.
One last thing on the alarm. It's a bit on the soft side. So, if you're the type who sleeps like a rock, don't expect this little beep to launch you out of bed. It's perfectly fine for light sleepers, or as a reminder to take a break during work. But if you're a heavy sleeper, you might want to set up backup plans for getting up on time. Still, for the price, it's more than acceptable. In short, the Skmei 1123 packs a punch for its price. It's full of features that make it not just a retro-style icon, but a practical tool for everyday life. Whether you're timing your coffee brewing or tracking Tokyo time, this watch has you covered without breaking the bank. electroluminescent backlight. A pleasant surprise for $6. I wasn't expecting much from the backlight on a $6 watch, but the Skmei 1123 exceeded my expectations. The electroluminescent backlight provides a clear bluish glow, much brighter than the dim LED on the Casio A158W. It actually lights up the display enough to read the time in complete darkness, which is a win. It won't light up an entire room, but it's perfect for quick time checks in the dark. For such an affordable watch, this backlight is a surprising standout feature, especially when many pricier models don't even get it right. Skmei really nailed it with this one.
Cracking open the case back. Watch surgery without the medical degree.
All right, now it's time to do something a little exciting. Let's open up the case back and take a peek inside. Don't worry, we're just looking. We're not going to mess with anything. Think of it like window shopping, but for watch guts. First, we need to remove the 4 tiny screws holding the case back in place. So, grab your trusty screwdriver, and be careful not to launch any screws across the room. They have a sneaky way of disappearing forever. Okay, screws are out. Let's pop it open. There it is, the heart of the Skmei 1123. Nothing too fancy, just your typical budget-friendly quartz movement. It's like the Toyota Corolla of watch movements. Reliable, affordable, and it gets the job done. Looking closer, we can see this particular watch is from batch April 2024. So, it's a pretty recent build, fresh off the factory floor. And hey, good news, it's passed the quality control test. That's always a relief. No one wants a watch that's allergic to keeping time. Now, inside the case back, there are a few markings. One says H031A. This could very well be the model code for the quartz movement inside. Or it might just be Skmei's internal way of keeping track of things. Either way, it sounds pretty official, or like a rejected Terminator model. Still cool. And then there's BUZ. Could be another code, or maybe someone named Buzz gave this watch a thumbs up. Either way, we're going to pretend it means something really important. And that's it. No need to poke around any further. We've seen the movement, confirmed it's legit, and we didn't break anything. I'd call that a win.
Functionality. Skmei 1123 features explained, with a dash of fun.
Let's dive into the features of the Skmei 1123. Surprisingly packed for a $6 watch. Water resistance, 30 meters. It's splash-proof, rain-ready, and perfect for hand washing, but don't take it swimming. It's not a scuba watch, but it handles everyday splashes just fine. Dual time zones, 2-time. Track 2 time zones at once. Perfect for travelers, or if you're just curious about what time it is in Tokyo while you relax at home. Chronograph, stopwatch. Great for timing workouts, eggs, or your sprint to catch the bus. Quick and easy stopwatch function to keep you on track. Daily alarm. The alarm will remind you of important things, like waking up or catching your favorite show. But it's a bit soft, so heavy sleepers may need backup. Date and day display. No more guessing what day it is. The date and day feature keeps you on top of the week. EL backlight. Need to check the time in the dark? The EL backlight makes it glow at the touch of a button, perfect for sneaky time checks. 12/24 hour format. Switch between AM/PM and military time. Your choice. It's easy and quick to toggle.
Pros and cons. The breakdown.
Here's a quick rundown of the Skmei 1123 after 10 days of testing. Spoiler, this $6 watch packs some surprises. Pros. 1. Affordable price. It's $6. You could lose it in the yard and not feel bad about it. For that price, you're getting surprisingly good quality. 2. Retro style. A classic Casio A158W look. Small, square, and perfect for those tired of oversized smartwatches. It's retro without being a wrist computer. 3. Comfortable fit. Surprisingly comfy for a stainless steel bracelet. No wrist hair pulling, and it fits well on smaller wrists like mine, 6.5 inches. You can wear it all day, even to bed. 4. Durability, solid build quality. The mineral crystal is tough. The buttons are clicky, and the stainless steel bracelet holds up well. 5. water resistance. 30 meters water resistance. Perfect for splashes and rain. Don't go swimming with it, but it'll survive a surprise water fight. 6. Functional display. Small but clear display showing alarm, day date, and time in both 12/24-hour formats. It's simple and effective. 7. Backlight. The electroluminescent backlight is bright and works way better than the LED lights you'd expect at this price. Cons. 1. Limited viewing angles. The viewing angles are not great. Ghosting happens if you tilt it too far, so you'll want to look straight at it for the best view. 2. Small display. The display is quite small, which can make it a bit tricky to read quickly, especially from a farther distance. 3. Soft alarm. The alarm isn't super loud. If you're a heavy sleeper, it might not do the trick, but it's fine for a gentle reminder. 4. No stainless steel caseback. The caseback is made of regular metal, which scratches more easily compared to a stainless steel one. 5. Lack of crystal info. Skmei doesn't mention the crystal type, but it feels like a mineral crystal. A little transparency here would have been nice. 6. Not for hardcore use. This isn't a tough, rugged watch. It's great for everyday use, but not for extreme activities or survival situations.
Your vibe wearing it. Not exactly a Navy SEAL, but definitely retro cool.
So, how did wearing the Skmei 1123 actually make me feel? Well, let's start with the big question. Did it make me feel adventurous? No. The 30 meters of water resistance isn't exactly going to let you conquer waterfalls or dive into the depths of the ocean like some kind of watch-wearing superhero. It's splash-proof, sure, but adventure-ready? Not so much. And what about tactical vibes? I mean, it's a small, retro watch, not exactly a piece of military-grade gear that's going to help you track time during a covert mission. This isn't something you'd wear if you're about to rappel down a cliff or go on a stealth operation. You won't find yourself feeling like an action hero wearing it, sorry to say. Now, here's the fun part. Does it make you feel slightly cooler than usual? Yeah, actually it does, but in a really subtle, understated way. I mean, it's cheap. Like, I spent $6 on this thing cheap. But the design? It's got that retro, old-school vibe that definitely pulls off a cooler-than-you-think look. You know that feeling when you put on something that looks better than it really should, and you think, I might not be James Bond, but I could definitely pull off this retro look. That's the Skmei 1123. While it won't make you feel like you're trekking through the Amazon or storming a secret base, it will definitely make you feel a little cool in that quirky, retro watch hipster way. It's like the watch equivalent of a vintage leather jacket, unassuming, a bit classic, and still manages to turn heads. People might say, hey, that's a cool watch. And when you tell them it costs $6, their minds will probably implode. It's retro, it's subtle, and it's definitely cooler than you'd expect from a budget watch. It's not going to transform you into a rugged adventurer or a high-tech spy, but it will make you look like someone who knows their watches and appreciates the classics. And hey, that's a vibe in itself.
Final thoughts.
To sum it up, the Skmei 1123 is perfect for budget-conscious watch lovers, retro fans, and anyone who want a no-nonsense, stylish watch without paying an arm and a leg. But if you're into smartwatches, large wrist pieces, or need a rugged watch for extreme conditions, you'll probably want to look elsewhere. But for the price, the Skmei 1123 punches above its weight. You might be surprised how much you can get for just $6. And there you have it, folks. After 10 days of real-life testing, the Skmei 1123 proves that a budget watch can definitely hold its own and still look retro cool while doing it. If you're after a simple, functional watch without breaking the bank, this one is a solid pick. It's a fun little watch that doesn't take itself too seriously, but still does its job. But hey, before you run off to grab one for yourself, don't forget to hit that like button. If you found this review helpful or entertaining, hopefully, it helps the channel grow and keeps me making content like this. And if you haven't subscribed yet, what are you waiting for? Join the Frugal Watch Box family. It's a free ride, and you'll get all the latest reviews, unboxings, and comparisons. And if you're feeling extra generous, check out the merch link in the description below. You'll be helping me grow, and I promise it'll look great on you. As always, thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one. Bye for now.